Hello everybody, I'm Gemify and welcome back to another video. This time it's not really it's not a part 2 of my BioShock playthrough. I haven't gotten around to that because I'm extremely busy with school at the moment and it takes a while to edit those things. So I figured why not just make a video talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 because it's something that I got it day one. I was in the line at GameStop, got it midnight. I mean technically it was 11 p.m. because I'm in Central, but got it day one. I was among the first to get it, and I've been playing it again because of my school schedule. It's been my school and work schedule. It's been a little bit difficult to get a consistent amount of hours in every week on the system, but I've been playing it a lot, and I really like it. And I figured why not just make a video talking about it. So this is the thing here. You can see OBS through the reflection. Yeah, it is. I got some stickers on the back too. I got a Cyberpunk V sticker because Cyberpunk 2077 on the Switch 2, it comes with stickers, and it might do that on other consoles too. I only had experience with the game on a Steam before I got it on the Switch 2, so I was really, really happy to see that there are stickers. So I put one on there. You can see. Don't make the same mistake I did. If you're gonna put a Cyberpunk sticker or a sticker that's like this quality, I don't really know how to describe it, on a system, don't put it where you put your hands. I've sweat a little bit, and you can see like right there along the edge, her arm is starting to melt off. But I also got some other stickers that my friend gave me, and when she bought me a Switch 2 case, and I have my samurai sticker right there, again from Cyberpunk. Then I also have some like button caps and everything like that. I can't remember where I got them. I think I got them on like eBay, I want to say. First order of business, I should say. The games that I currently have for it, let me go grab those real quick. So as you can see, I kind of got a whole stack of games. Yeah, a lot of these are just like Switch 1 games that have upgrades for the Switch 2. I'm not getting any of the game key cards. That's kind of something that I'm really adamant on. If I'm going to get a game that only has a game key card with it, I'm just going to buy it on the eShop. I don't really have any intention of buying a physical game that isn't actually a real physical game. Yeah, let's start talking about these things real quick. So first one, Splatoon 3. I just got this webcam, so I haven't really. I'm still trying to work out how to like record with it well and everything. So bear with me as it struggles to focus on things. But again, it's a Switch 1 game. I got it not launch day on Switch 1, but I got it sometime after that. I didn't really play it too much, and I still haven't played it too much, mostly because the Wi-Fi, especially like with the Switch 2 in my room. I live on the top floor, Wi-Fi router's on the basement. I don't have a strong internet connection, and very frequently it just decides to fail, and I struggle to get many games in on this thing. Usually I have to use my hotspot, and I don't like doing that because I don't have unlimited data. But it is still a fun game from what I've played. Hopefully I can play more at some point in the future. I definitely think they made like the improvements on the Switch 2. I know it can run at like 60 FPS now, and I know it has I think it has HDR support as well. Yeah, it's a fun game. Technically this game does not have a Switch 2 version yet. It will at some point. I think they said next year, I believe, 2026 in the last Nintendo Direct, where it's going to have a Switch 2 version as well as some DLC that can come with it. And I am honestly really excited for that because I haven't played this game very much. I like playing it with friends and only really play it when friends are available. So I haven't played through the entire thing yet, but that's going to happen eventually, especially after the Switch 2 version comes out on the HDR 1080p handheld screen. Like it's going to look good, and I'm just excited for that. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now this is a game, you guessed it, on the original Nintendo Switch with a Switch 2 upgrade. And because I have Nintendo Online, I think it's with like either the expansion pass. I think it's the expansion pass where you can get Switch 2 versions for a handful of games. Not all of them. A handful of like first-party Nintendo games. This is one of them. Haven't gotten around to playing it yet. I just haven't really been in the mood to replay it. I don't know. I know a lot of people tend to replay like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom a whole bunch. I just can't really bring myself to do that. Maybe at some point, but the early game is something that I don't necessarily miss very much in either of those. So I have played Tears of the Kingdom though, the Switch 2 version of that, but unfortunately I have that on my eShop. That was back whenever I wouldn't flinch at buying digital copies of games. Highly recommend checking it out. If you haven't had the original Nintendo Switch and you're just getting a Switch 2 and this is your first time having access to a lot of these games, I would highly recommend grabbing this one. I would highly recommend it. I can't remember. I think I had like 60 hours or so before I beat it, and even then I didn't get everything. It might have been a few. It might have been less than that, but still, like it's a great game, and I would highly recommend picking it up. Now let's talk about Pokemon Violet. You have to pay like $450 to get this game to run at like a reasonable frame rate, and I do think that Game Freak should be delaying a lot of their Pokemon games just to account for the extra development time needed to reach modern standards. Because the thing is, when you look at Pokemon games on like the 3DS and the DS, they don't have super high definition textures. Everything's running at like sub like 460. I can't remember, but it's a very low resolution. I mean, and on the 3DS, a lot of things are just expected to run at like 30 frames per second either way. Even the Switch 1, especially on the Switch 2, a lot of games are expected to run at 60 FPS. And when you have a game like this that is a completely open world Pokemon game with a bunch of Pokemon running around, a bunch of trainers, a bunch of things going on, the thing is that the Switch 1 can only do so much at the end of the day. And they could have optimized it a little bit more, I think, and I think they should have delayed the game in order to make it a better game. Either way, I digress. The Switch 2 version, it still doesn't look that great. Like, I'm not going to lie, I don't really like the way Scarlet and Violet look by default, even when they are in reasonably high definition at like 1080p and stuff. I think that being able to play it at like 60 FPS, 1080p and handheld, I think that really does make it an easier game to play. Because originally it's like, I liked it because I was a Pokemon fan. I liked the game as it was, and that kind of made it easier for me to play it. Now, if you have a Switch 2, you didn't play this game on the Switch 1, or you just don't have either, and it's your first time getting a Nintendo console, or recently getting a Nintendo console, I would highly recommend picking that one up. I don't think it actually does require the Nintendos. I think if you just have the game in general, it automatically downloads the upgrade. I like that. Given how bad that game ran on the original Switch, I feel like they kind of had to do something like that, making it cost like $10 or $20 just to get the game to run in a way that it's expected to. Nintendo they're not afraid to put a price tag on something, but that's something that I feel like that would cross a line even for them. Shadow Labyrinth. I haven't played this one too much yet. I got it relatively recently because I know it has a free Switch 2 upgrade, and I decided to get the collector's edition. 1 minute. I forgot to bring that up here, so I'll go grab that. So here is the Shadow Labyrinth Secret Edition. I decided to get this one because the game was already relatively cheap. I like it. It comes with pins and stuff. I'm still trying to think about where I should put, or like what to do with those pins. I need to get like a bag or something. I just need that. I've been using a laptop bag, and that's what I've been taking to school for like the past like year. And I should probably get something else that I could put a little bit more personality in, especially considering my laptop bag is like falling apart. But tangent. This little like poster, I still haven't taken it out. Some stickers right here. They look pretty cool. I don't want to put them on the back of my Switch, just because if it's going to be a similar thing with the Cyberpunk stickers, I don't want to take a sticker that I'm not going to be able to get back, put it somewhere where I know it might be destroyed. But here are the pins and everything. It also comes with like a blacklight keychain. Still need to figure out where to put those, like I said. But they look pretty cool, and I honestly think it's a pretty cool collector's edition. I personally think that Marvelous recently, I don't know if they've always been doing collector's editions like these. I've got Demon X Machina and Story of Seasons, those two games, the new ones that just came out, and their collector's editions for those are really cool. I love them, honestly. Like, they're worth every penny. They're only like $20 more than the base game too, and like in today's day and age, like if you look at like I think it's like the Borderlands 4 or something like that, it's over $100 to get like collector's edition. And from what I've heard, again, this is just me rambling, haven't done any research on this topic because I'm not really super interested in Borderlands, but from what I've heard, it's like it doesn't even come with the base game, so it's like, what's the point? You're spending all that money on a collector's edition for something that you can't even argue that it's a collector's edition of something because it doesn't even have the original thing in general. Shadow Labyrinth, I haven't played it too much. It's a Metroidvania. I do like it so far. I just kind of got stuck at like one section, and then Story of Seasons came out, and then I started playing that and haven't really gone back to this. I know I will. That's just how I function. I might not play the game immediately after it comes out, but I'm gonna play it eventually. Mario Kart World. I have like I think like 15 or so hours in this game so far. I beat the entire, like, I got all the cups. I believe I got first place on all of them. I've been playing it every now and then. It's the sort of game where you don't really play it for extended periods of time, especially not by yourself. You'd usually play this game with like at like a party. I haven't really had any sort of event recently where we could just play Mario Kart World nonstop. But I've been playing it a little bit. The open world, I think it's a lot better than I originally thought it was going to be. I thought open world Mario Kart, like this big gaming franchise that I love and is just going to adopt this concept that is usually only good for like adventure games. And I do kind of like how they implemented it. It does feel a little bit forced at times. I feel like it would have just been better as like its own separate thing to the side. And having all the tracks in the open world is cool and all. The open world in general just doesn't actually mean very much when you're actually doing races. It only really means something when you're doing free roam. So why do they have to implement these routes and everything? I like it a lot. I just feel like there's a little bit of dissonance between the actual like main racing element of the game and the open world. But on their own, separately, it's a fun game. And I don't think the routes necessarily ruin the racing. And they definitely get on a lot of other people's skin, especially since they did that update. So how the way that people would get around having to do routes, when they're playing online, they'll just vote on a random map. And then if it gets a random map, most of the time it's not going to have a route. It's just going to pick a random map that's not connected to the one that you're currently on. But they changed it so that you still have to drive a route. It's just going to pick a track that is adjacent to you, and you still have to drive the route there. And it just, I don't know why they did that. I really don't. I feel like there's a lot of like, hate that Nintendo gets that's like, I feel like people exaggerate a little bit just because they don't play Nintendo games. And so when you're not even considering buying a Nintendo Switch 2, it's easy to criticize the Nintendo Switch 2. But like there are definitely some things where I'm like, all right, Nintendo, what the hell? Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC just came out for this. It looks fun. I don't know if it's necessarily $20 worth of fun, and just from what I've heard, it's not really worth it. I haven't even beat the game. I'm getting close though. It's just a lot of games keep coming out, and I'm the type of person where I like playing a variety of things at the same time instead of just sticking to one game. I tend to have slow progression. I am still working my way through this game, and so far it's been fun. I do feel like it's a little bit overhyped. And what I mean by that is that I feel like outside of like the missions, well, not really the missions, the challenges that you can do to get bananas, those are really fun and I really like those. But I feel like outside of that, when you're just navigating the main world, it just kind of feels repetitive. Like you're just breaking something or grabbing something and throwing something, and that's kind of the way that you navigate every single obstacle. And there are moments where it's not exactly like that, but I still feel like the but like not the vast majority of the game, but I feel like the points in between the areas of interest feel very repetitive. There are moments that prove me wrong though, but when you're just banana hunting in the overworld, or you're just looking for fossils, you're fossil hunting, it just feels like you're just breaking things and throwing things, and it's fun, but it does feel a little bit repetitive at some point. And that's not saying that's the vast majority of the game, or I'm not even saying it ruins the game at all. It's, I just kind of wish the way that you got all the bananas was through these challenges. Instead, that's only a handful of them, or I guess it might be most of them, I think, but still, it's like just having to slap your hands down and you see something's light up and then you have to just punch in that direction and keep walking in that direction until you get it. It's like, I don't really like doing that. I understand that some people might find it satisfying. Me personally, I prefer like the little mini games and challenges to get things, but that's just me. But it's a fun game. Highly recommend it if you have a Switch 2 or are planning on getting a Switch 2. Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar. This one also has a special edition. It comes with like a cloth poster. I've taken it out of the wrapping just so I could look at the entire thing. It comes with a CD soundtrack and an official art book. And I love these things. I love these little art books where it has like development art in it, and it has just things that you would find to be cool. I just like art books and stuff like that. Stuff that gives you like more insight into like the creation of the game. I feel like I'm the type of person that and I just appreciate a lot of the effort and a lot of the like artistry that goes into these games, and so to see like an art book that just makes like the extra $20 for the premium edition, that just makes it worth it to me. I just love looking at that stuff. Like you can't really put a price tag on that. Now, Rune Factory, Guardians of Azuma. I've played this one a bit. I have about 10 hours I want to say in it. It's a really fun game so far that I've been playing it. It's just a lot of stuff has been coming out, and like I said, between school and work, getting a whole bunch of time into one game or into multiple games at the same time I'm the kind of person where I like to sprinkle in a couple hours here, a couple hours there, a couple hours like that's just how I tend to play games. At least once a week. That's my thing for all these games. At least once a week, I boot them up and play them. This one. This is like, honestly, I think this might be like my favorite game of all time. Before it even came out on the Switch 2, I was playing it on PC on Steam, and it is just like, it is just such a fun game. There's so much to do in it. There's so much content. There's so many of like those of NCPD scanner missions. There's the like so many just side quests with all the different fixers and everything. It's like, on top of that, it does all of this without having just an incredibly bloated and long story. Don't get me wrong, games can have a very long story mode and still be good and still be interesting. But the thing is, I feel like a lot of games are just long for the sake of being long. And this one, you can beat the story in like less than 40 hours, which is still kind of a long time, but not insanely long. For like an RPG like this, for like a large scale open world RPG, that's not a whole bunch of time compared to a lot of other games. And I just love it so much. Yeah, highly recommend. I mean, if you have a Switch 2, if you're considering getting a Switch 2, this is reason enough, in my opinion. If you haven't played this game, you don't have a PC, you don't have any other system that can play it, this is reason enough to buy a Switch 2 if you're already considering getting it, because you can just put so many hours into this thing. Like, the story takes, like, you can beat that very quickly, but like, if you, as far as like the missions go, and none of the missions sacrifice on quality. I mean, there might be a couple that don't feel too fun to play, but like, for the most part, you don't feel like something is a side mission or a side quest. It just feels like a quest. It just feels like something that you're doing in that game. None of them feel like they're sacrificing quality. None of them feel like they're sacrificing immersion. None of them feel like they're just thrown in there to have extra content. They all just feel like actual things to do in the world itself. And that's just what I love about Cyberpunk 2077 so much, and I can't wait for the sequel. I'm hoping that it comes out on Switch 2 day one. I feel like at that point, if they were to make a game that is just so graphically intensive that it just can't run on the Switch 2, I feel like at that point it would be diminishing returns. And here we have Demon Ex Machina Titanic Scion. Have about like 4 or 5 hours in this game. This week I've been particularly busy, and it came out last week, so I haven't had a whole lot of time to play it, but I've sunk in a lot of time, as much time as I really could without sacrificing my education or my work schedule, but it is really fun. I also got the collector's edition for this. It also comes with an art book and some like keychains and stuff. It's just a fun game. It makes you feel really awesome while playing it. I do have some critiques. The combat doesn't feel very smooth. It feels like, I don't really know how to describe it. It just doesn't feel as intuitive to me, and maybe that's going to change over time as I put more hours into the game. But when things work, it feels awesome. When they don't work, you're like, ugh. Fighting the lock-on mechanism is something that I find myself frequently fighting with at times, and that might just be me and how I'm not used to playing. I have never played the first game, and I'm just not used to playing games that are exactly like this. So it could just be that. Hopefully over time, I pick up the controls a little bit better. Now is the time to talk about the last Direct that happened on the 12th. I honestly liked the Direct a lot. There were some things that kind of threw me off, like the Virtual Boy coming back. I'm like, I get it. You know, I understand the preservation argument with bringing the Virtual Boy back. But on the other hand, it's like, this is specifically attached to an online service that they might not maintain forever. I mean, Virtual Console, I mean, you can't buy anything on the 3DS or Wii U eShop anymore. So it's like, Virtual Console, like, that's not really game preservation anymore. Yes, you can download it if you've already bought it, but it's like, I want a world where game preservation doesn't really have any strings attached to it. It's not something that can just be cut off at some point. Because at the end of the day, people forget the Nintendo Switch classic stuff. You still have to download it. You still have to have the online subscription. And if they could just decide to cut something out. I don't think they're going to do that anytime soon. But like 25 years down the line, who knows what's going to happen? We might not have access to any of the things that we currently have on newer hardware 20 or so years from now. I wish for game preservation. I wish it was just kind of, there weren't strings attached to it. I just wish it just couldn't just be taken away at any moment. So the game preservation argument, I can see where they're coming from, but it's like, the goal here is really just to provide something for people to play, and I highly doubt many people are going to be spending. I'm probably not going to do that. Like I buy Nintendo things. I trust me, I buy Nintendo things, and I might not get the Virtual Boy stuff just because it's like I'm not going to spend very much time playing those games. And it's like if I do, it's going to be for collector's purposes, but at the same time it's like I can buy a game, multiple games, for the price of like the headset. And the $25 cardboard headset, that's not something that I would buy to collect. That's just something I would buy to play the games. And I don't want to really play Virtual Boy games all too much. It just doesn't make sense to me why they did that. And I mean, it's cool. It's funny to me, definitely. It just threw me off. It just threw me way off. They also showed more things about Tomodachi Life, which I'm excited for. And also at the end of the direct, they revealed a new Fire Emblem game, which is, I'm so happy for that. I'm so excited for that. I love Fire Emblem. It just makes me happy. I mean, yeah, a lot of people were upset about that. And I honestly never really understood where like the hate for Fire Emblem comes from. I understand the frustration of how many Fire Emblem characters there are in Super Smash Bros. I understand where that's coming from. But as far as just the hate for the mainline games, or like when a new game comes out and people react negatively to it, it's like, give it a try. You know, a lot of people say like, oh, Fire Emblem's hard to get into, or it's this, it's that. And it's like, I feel like a lot of people have not sat down and tried to get anything more than a couple hours into a game. And the thing is that like if you really try and pay attention, if you really try to understand the game and the mechanics, it's fun. And honestly, for me, I never had like trouble with that. So I never understood. Maybe it's just because like people just prefer real-time combat games, or they prefer like a more traditional turn-based sense and not really a tactical turn-based game. But still, it's like, it's fun. Like I don't understand why people wouldn't like it. That is all for now. I might make another one of these another 3 months from now, or maybe like a year from the Switch 2 coming out, or a week from, I don't know. Like I said, this channel is really just here for me to have fun doing things, and just whenever I feel the need to talk about it again. It is a little bit underwhelming as far as like how many titles you can play on the game, on the system, especially considering how many things are just game key cards, because several of them look fun. Several of them are fun, but it's like, storage is too expensive, and getting digital games on a system that just came out and the storage is incredibly expensive and inaccessible compared to the last console. It's like, I'm not gonna be buying a whole lot of games that require me to download them. I'm just not. And it sucks because I do wish I could play these games. And the thing is, I honestly probably would buy it on the eShop, even though it's a game key card. But it's just a factor of I just don't have a lot of space on my system right now. And I don't want to delete anything because I sprinkle hours into a lot of my games. Like most games that I have downloaded, I'll probably sprinkle at least like 30 minutes to an hour a week because I'm sporadic like that. But, you know, it just kind of sucks because I just wish I had access to, I just wish I could play those games and have access to my other games at the same time. That's kind of why I mostly get physical games. And so I hope they correct the game keycard situation at some point, especially when Final Fantasy VII Remake comes out, because I'm really going to want to play that game. Storage is expensive. Like a terabyte is like over $200 at the moment. And, you know, even then, that's going to get filled up at some point. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on the Switch 2 so far, the games I have on it. Hopefully I'll have time to make another longer video at some point about either a Let's Play or just about something else. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy and have a great day, I guess.